The story stinks to high heaven. Let me explain some of the issues, and let me emphasize this is not just my opinion. I've got a buddy who ran Reagan's security detail after Reagan was shot. Experienced Secret Service officer. He actually set up the training protocols that Secret Service is supposed to adhere to, which they are no longer following. Now, let me emphasize that. So the first thing that caught my eye, the first person that's taken off the stage. So you got gunfire outside of the ballroom. It's not inside the ballroom. The first person to be taken off stage was J.D. Vance. And I look at it and go, what in God's name is going on? The protocol, the standard, the requirement is the president. Get the president. Everybody else can die. The president, that's who you save. That's what Secret Service is supposed to be trained to do. They didn't do that. They take off J.D. Vance. So you're going, okay, what's going on? Trump initially, everybody else is ducking behind tables. He's sitting there calmly looking around like, did he know this was going to happen? Was this staged? I believe it was staged, and we'll get into that. The second thing is the failure of the security perimeter, that it was not properly set up. So the way this should be done is you have a perimeter outside the hotel, okay? So you set the first layer that nobody gets past that first layer unless they have a right to be in that hotel. They can show that they're a guest or that they got an invitation. Otherwise, nobody gets in. All right, so this guy had gotten in. He was a guest. But then you've got an entrance into the area where the ballroom is. And I don't recall. I've been in that hotel before, but I don't recall if there's just one or if there are two. But regardless, you immediately identify what are the access points, and you cover those. And you cover those in such a way that you got a magnetometer, which means you detect metal detector, and then you have armed personnel standing there behind in the event that somebody tries to run through like this guy did. Because if they do, you then shoot them. You don't tackle them. You don't try to talk them down. You shoot them. And then you should have had another security checkpoint. We've learned, according to several people that attended, that at no time were they required to show an ID and the ticket to be at that event. Now, the other thing that's curious, and this tells me that this was planned with help, that this guy who had the shotgun, he had assistance because he traveled from California. Now, I had assumed that he got on an airplane, which means if you get on an airplane, you have to fill out forms to say that I'm carrying a firearm. It has to be properly locked and secured. And so there's a way to do it, but they go through a formal procedure. He took the train. There is no security. There is no security on the train. So, he got that weapon there. And now look at here. Look at his body. Do you see any bullet holes? No. Do you see any blood? No. Do you see anybody administering first aid? No. He was not shot. How in the hell does that happen? When you come sprinting through with a gun, firing at people, there aren't enough Secret Service and Metropolitan Police from D.C. and probably some other federal law enforcement in the area. They all got guns. They should have been out filling him up with lead that, he would have been sufficient to be an anchor on a boat. Instead, you saw him running away from those guys that were shooting at him. You don't see any bullet holes. And the reason I know that he didn't get shot anywhere else, in that picture, you don't see a single emergency medical technician applying any kind of tourniquet, pressure. Let's say that if he got shot in the legs, they should be trying to stop bleeding there and treat that. They didn't do that. So that's why I say this thing stinks to high heaven. I think this guy had been encouraged by someone else to do this, that he didn't know he was being used, but he got put in a position where he was used, but everybody else, key leaders, knew that this was going to happen.